A routine traffic stop in a small German city. This time, police aren't booking motorists for speeding. Rather, they're clamping down on people for not wearing their seatbelts. Officer Jürgen Oesterle has handed out 12 tickets in 25 minutes. This man was at the bank. This woman at Friends, both traveling short distances. This woman says she usually buckles up. Today she was distracted by visiting grandkids. The excuses are many and varied. Jürgen Oesterle says it's amazing what people come up with. Many think an airbag is protection enough. But are they right? Just how much protection does an airbag provide? We asked the safety experts at Germany's auto club, the ADAC. Andreas Riegling conducts around 550 crash tests every year. He has a strong opinion about airbags. He says it's a total misconception that airbags can replace seatbelts. An airbag is only triggered by a certain force. That's clearly shown in our first crash test at 30 kilometers an hour. The impact isn't hard enough to release the airbag. Passengers wearing seatbelts can probably escape with a few scrapes and bruises. It's a different story for those who aren't strapped in. Andreas Riegling says without an airbag or seatbelts, both driver and passengers are totally unprotected. The head and chest hit the steering wheel and windshield. The knee and thigh hit the dash. Even a collision at slow speeds can result in a serious injury, and an airbag is no help at all if it doesn't inflate. But police controls show that motorists disregard the dangers. Policeman Jens Brockstedt says he's shocked by the statistics. Around 40% of stopped vehicles carry people who aren't wearing seatbelts, often the drivers or one of their children. Most of those caught would rather not comment on camera. Many feel as though they haven't done anything wrong. But what happens when an airbag is activated at a higher speed? Can it replace a safety belt? Here, an Opel Astra is being prepared for a collision at 64 kilometers an hour, the speed for the Euro NCAP safety test. The Astra has passed it with flying colors, achieving the highest safety rating. But the tests were all conducted with fastened seatbelts. What about just an airbag? It's all over in a fraction of a second. As expected, the Astra's cockpit holds firm. Inside, the airbags were triggered, but the passengers are far from okay. Andreas Riegling says they've certainly suffered serious to critical injuries. The lower extremities, heads crashing together, the driver's chest hitting the steering wheel, all life-threatening injuries. The head hitting the windshield can cause extreme neck trauma. And when the accident is over, there's still contact between driver and passenger during the rebound. That alone can be fatal. With an airbag, but without a safety belt, the collision was potentially fatal. The same crash test at 64 kilometers an hour has a much different result when all occupants are strapped in. Most likely, they'd sustain only light injuries. Andreas Riegling says the difference is like night and day. The seatbelt is the #1 lifesaver. In combination with an airbag, the risks of injury are even lower because an airbag disperses the energy. But he stresses, on its own, an airbag is not sufficient to protect a driver or passengers. So the humble seatbelt can save lives at every speed. Especially in city traffic, it's the only insurance against serious harm.